Oh, hey y'all! Welcome to the Cuphead show. We're gonna have a fun little good show for you to laugh. Oh God, no! No, no! I'm not gonna be able to maintain that for this full thing if we keep it at that rate. Hey everybody, welcome to a commentary for Cuphead. Oh man, am I actually doing commentary for a game that's released in HD? Oh my god, I never thought I'd see the day, and I can't even tell this is HD because this looks just like the cartoons I used to watch on the old Cartoon Network. Back when Cartoon Network was nothing but a glorified rerun station for old Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry cartoons. And I also remember watching old Disney shorts on their channel too, I believe. But Cuphead! Oh, this is a magnificent game. But we got a story to go through. Once upon a time, in a magical place called Inkwell Isle, there were two brothers named Cuphead and Mugman. They lived without a care, alright, but one day the two boys wandered far from home, and despite the elder kettle's many warnings, ended up on the wrong side of the tracks. Inside, Cuphead and Mugman soon found themselves on a winning streak at the craps table. Hot dog! Exclaimed King Dice, the casino's sleazy manager. Nice run, boys, laughed the newcomer. The brothers gasped. It was the casino's owner, the devil himself. Now how about we raise the stakes? He suggested with a toothy grin. Win one more roll and all the loot in my casino is yours. The devil boomed. But if you lose, I'll have your souls, deal? Cuphead, blinded by easy riches, nodded and grabbed the dice for a throw. Good gosh, Cuphead, no! Cried Mugman, for he understood the danger. Snake eyes! Laughed the devil while slamming the floor. You lose! The brothers trembled in fear as he loomed over them. The brothers pleaded for their very lives. There must be another way to repay you, Mugman stammered. Perhaps there is, the devil snickered, pulling out a parchment. I have here a list of my runaway debtors. Collect their souls for me and I might just pardon you two bugs. Now get going, the devil roared, kicking the boys out most brutally. You have till midnight to collect every one of those souls, otherwise I'll be the one collecting yours. Oh boy! Cuphead and Mugman were terribly frightened and ran away as fast as they could. Come on, Mug, panted Cuphead. We have to find the elder kettle. He'll know what to do. Gosh darn it, and that's how we're starting this thing. Thankfully, I'm not obligated to do any more voice acting for the rest of this playthrough. And I don't care how many of you ask and post in the comments to tell me to do more voice acting. That is the only bit of real story we're gonna get. And I'm fine with that because this game is old school in every single way aside from its aspect ratio. And I gotta say, I liked the way this game looked from the very start that it was announced. But one thing that really kind of cut back my hype for this was that it was originally announced as an Xbox and PC exclusive. And, you know, PC is good. Xbox One, not so much. You'd have to be a jokester to own an Xbox One and at least not something else, because Xbox has no good exclusives. And even Cuphead is, like I said, it was on PC as well. And the thing is, I don't like playing games on my PC. Unless it's an older game that I'm recording for you guys on my YouTube channel. No! I don't go out of my way to sit on my only somewhat comfortable computer chair to play video games leisurely. Just no! So it's a good thing I was able to record this from the comfort of my recliner off of my lovely Nintendo Switch. Because, you know, that's just better. I didn't have to buy an Xbox One. That said, Xbox One might be worth it if you're a fan of the rare replay, but other than that, I don't know, man. I don't know. So Cuphead, what is Cuphead all about? It's a 2D game. I know, obvious, right? But it's actually based on run and gun games, which is actually a genre I've never really dabbled much in. But, you know, I came to this game and I'm like, I like this. This game is actually mostly centered around boss fights. If you can believe it, with the whole implication that the devil wants Cuphead and Mugman to collect a bunch of souls. Nah, of course, it's not going to be boss fights with that implication. No. But anyway, where we were just at was the shop, Pork Rind Shop. You go there to buy stuff, usually priced between 3 to 4 coins, but sometimes the prices can range. This is Forest Follies. This is actually not a boss. It's actually a regular stage. You'll be either ecstatic or disappointed to know that there are only 6 of these kinds of levels in the entire game. And you might be wondering, well, if that's how many regular levels there are, how many bosses are there? I don't really want to spoil that, but I'll tell you that there are 5 on this first island. And we're going to be doing all of them in this part, so yeah. And when you start Cuphead, though, you have to play through on regular difficulty before you unlock the expert difficulty that so many people want to bitch about online. Because, oh my god, this is too hard. Oh, you're killing me with this difficulty, Cuphead. I'm gonna whine about it on the Game Facts. Oh, even better, I'll complain about it on the 4chan because obviously they'll care about my opinions on there. Oh, you poor sweet summer child. But if you're wondering what the heck I just did there, you'll get a special rank in these run and gun levels by completing the level without killing a single enemy. The P rank is the best rank you can get, and in my opinion, it's easier to get these than S ranks. You're probably wondering what an S rank is. I think I'll be going into detail about that soonish. Definitely within this next part. Or within this part, I should say. Whoa, calm down. I'm not gonna make you wait another part for that explanation. There's only 4 parts to this commentary, so just sit back and chill for a hot minute, alright? I just bought the spread gun, which is actually going to be very useful for the first boss. Actually, the first 2 bosses, honestly. Another gun that I recommend is the Chaser, but I recommend getting the spreader first because the Chaser is not as useful for the first 2 bosses as it would be for some of the later bosses inside. This is a mausoleum. You basically have to defeat a bunch of pink ghosts by parrying them. How do you parry? Well, you jump, and then you push the jump button again in midair, and you do a little, kind of a short-range aerial attack of sorts. You might want to get used to this technique, and there is a reason I'm doing this before I'm doing any boss fights. You need to do at least 3, I think it's 3 parries in a boss fight to get the best possible rank. Yeah, the best possible rank. You need to parry at least 3 pink objects in a given boss fight. This game is all about the boss fights. The run and guns, they are literally just there to give you more coins. And as I've just displayed, it is very much possible to get all 5 coins and the P rank in one run. I'm gonna be doing that a lot. In fact, I do that for every level. I don't care about spoiling the run and guns, like I said. But I'm gonna try not to spoil the boss fights, because those are pretty good. I think this chick's called the Kettle, or the Legendary Chalice. I'm sorry, we already met a Kettle. This is a Chalice. Big difference. Apparently she's gonna be a character in the upcoming DLC, so that's pretty cool. We'll see how that goes whenever that gets released. They announced it like a year ago. I'm recording this commentary at the end of 2019. Let's put that into perspective. Persnickety perspective for a minute there. But by completing the first mausoleum, you get a super ability. Or a super move. That's another reason why I recommend doing this before doing any boss fights, because you need to do those to get the best ranks on the bosses as well. By doing the first run and gun level and the first mausoleum, you're going to be pretty set for getting some really good ranks on a lot of these boss fights. This is why I do what I do, or I did what I did. Past tense or present tense, whatever you prefer. And fun fact, when I played this game myself, this was not the first boss I did, even though the root pack is indeed the recommended first boss to do. So here's the root pack, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first boss. It's also kind of the tutorial boss, even though it's not really a tutorial. Yeah, this boss, or this set of bosses, I should say, is really rather easy. The only thing with this potato you have to worry about is that the projectiles he spits out get faster and faster each time. Oh, the little cards on the bottom, each one of those gives you one super, or not a super, but like a power you can use. Like a weaker power And if you save up 5 cards, you get to do a stronger power, which I just did, which was the big gigantic laser. The weaker one is that. It's basically a charge shot from Mega Man, more or less. You need to spend 6 cards worth of super arts in a boss battle to get the best possible rank in that category. So you gotta do that, and you gotta parry 3 pink objects. All while not getting hits. Yeah, it's easier said than done. For some people it might be easier done than said though, because that was a hefty explanation I just had to do, but yeah. The second phase is just an onion that cries, watch out for the tears that fall from the sky. And the carrot is the hardest part, but it's still not that hard. You know, just watch out for the laser beams that come out of its forehead, and be mindful of the carrots that are also coming in from above. And the best possible rank you can get in regular mode is A+, but if you do the same requirements on Expert, you'll get an S rank. Problem is, on Expert mode, all of these bosses get harder. They get more difficult patterns. But I'm not going to keep you waiting. We're going to do the next boss, Goopy Legrand. Fun fact, Goopy Legrand was the first boss I ever did when I first played Cuphead. And this guy really wrecked my stuff, I'm not going to lie. He really wrecked my stuff, you know? It's only because his jumping patterns can throw you for a loop if you don't practice this a bit. In some ways, this boss is easier than the root pack, and in some ways, it's harder. For one thing, you only have exactly three pink objects you can parry, and I just did so. You miss any of those, you're not getting the perfect score for parrying stuff. You only get 3 out of 3 chances. Hey, they had to make these early bosses difficult to S-rank somehow. But, other than that, doing the supers and everything else is still pretty easy. It's just the parries that they get you on with Goopy. This phase can also be kind of problematic if you don't have the smoke bomb, which was the first thing I purchased because invincibility dashes really help with getting these P and A plus ranks, I'm telling you. And you know, I may record S rank runs of all the boss fights down the line, but you know, I play so many games that I'm just glad I was able to do a really decent run where I get all A ranks. They're not all going to be A plus before you get on my case, because I didn't feel the need to go for perfect scores on all these bosses, because I'm going to have to do that when I get the S ranks. So I figured, for the sake of a quality YouTube playthrough and commentary, this was actually planned after I did the playthrough. I wasn't planning to do a commentary at first, but for the sake of a good quality playthrough, I just figured I'd stick to A ranks. Just if you A minus, A plus, I figured that's good enough. It'll give the viewer enough of a sign as to what to try and do to get the S ranks. In the case I don't ever get around to doing S ranks, which, like I said, I might do down the line, I might not, I don't know yet. If I do, there won't be a commentary for it. I just want to do commentary for the actual game, the story and everything else, because this game is great. This is my favorite boss in this island, to be honest. It's Hildeberg. That's kind of a funny name, actually. Hildeberg. The name also rings a bell for some reason. I think there was an airplane or something named Hildeberg or something like that. I don't know. Interesting thing about Hildeberg, other than the fact that this is probably going to be the hardest boss you fight so far, maybe even the hardest boss for you on this island, I think I might agree with that sentiment, but anyways, this, for one thing, this is not like the other 2 bosses we just did. This is a aerial gunner kind of stage. It's a plane stage, where you have to move around in the air and while shooting the boss. It's definitely different, and that might be one reason why people consider this difficult, because it's a different kind of setup to get used to be sure. But in time, you'll get used to it, and I want to say that I find some of these stages easier than the non-plane bosses, but it's definitely a case-by-case basis. And a lot of these bosses on the first island, you know, they're obviously going to be the easiest bosses in the entire game. And I definitely agree with that. The bosses only get harder from here. I mean, I can see the argument for Hildeberg being the hardest boss in Island 1, but it's not one of the hardest bosses in this game. It's just not. She's just not. UFOs are really kind of problematic though. One of the colors will start doing their beam attack right before you reach underneath them, and some of them will do it soon after you pass under them. I cannot remember which colors are which. Yeah, I only got hit once, so that was still a pretty solid run, and I got just a regular A, not an A+, not an A-, just a regular A. You know, an A anything in school is a great grade, and honestly, if you're doing B- or above, you don't really need to do much better than that to really succeed in life. But here's the second run and gun stage for the first island. I couldn't really tell you which one of these is the harder one to get a P rank on. I definitely remember having to retry this one a bunch of times though. Thankfully, the wonderful thing about getting the P rank, which is short for pacifist by the way, because you have to do it without defeating any enemies. The wonderful thing about that is that you don't have to worry about not getting hit or parrying a certain amount of objects or anything like that. So, in a weird way, the pacifist rank for all of these run and guns is both less stressful and more stressful than trying to get a perfect score on the boss fights, if that makes any sense to anybody watching out there. I'm sure it does, but, you know, some people might be like, what the hell are you talking about? But, I don't know. Also, I'm gonna try and not to resort to swearing too much, but this game kinda starts off by saying the word crap, and it mentions hell a lot, so, you know, I'm gonna try not to, because I don't really feel the need to in a single-player environment, but, yeah, this game kind of already was ahead of me on that curve. But, yeah, literally the only thing you have to worry about when going for pacifist is just don't defeat any enemies. The time it takes you doesn't matter, the amount of times you get hit doesn't matter, etc., etc. You're probably wondering about this axe-shaped guy. After defeating all of the bosses on the island, if you talk to him, you'll get another gold coin that you can use to buy some more stuff from pork rind at his shop. Don't ya know? Matter of fact, I have 7 coins built up, but I'm just gonna go straight to boss number 4 or 5, Cagney Carnation. This guy's design is pretty cool. Gets kind of creepy during the second phase, but that's besides the point. This is a pretty fun boss fight. I like using Spreader for this, because I like to get up close and personal with this guy. I feel like this does the most damage, but I could be wrong. Now, powering 3 pink objects is easier than Goopy Legrand, obviously, because there's only 3 of those, but probably harder than some of the other fights, because a lot of the pink objects come in sets with other things that can potentially harm you, like the seeds, which can kind of make getting a perfect score agitating. But the super laser beam really helps by closing the gap. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I got 3 pink objects in this fight. During the second phase, though, all these little saw blades that Cagney will shoot out, some of them will be pink, and you can parry those, as I've just demonstrated. Be mindful of the vines coming down that, you know, go through the platforms. If you're attentive, I say the second phase is actually easier than the first phase, to be honest. And I want to say it's actually even more exemplified in the expert mode run, but I don't know yet. Haven't really dabbled much in expert mode. A minute 12 is a really good time though. Like that's almost Mexican runner speedrun quality. That guy is awesome, by the way. If you ever look up his YouTube channel, I highly recommend his Cuphead speedruns, especially the ones he did for GDQ. Oh man, really fun guy. Really a lot of energy. Also, I have a lot of respect for the Hispanic community, because I was raised by a Hispanic woman. So, you know, I give shoutouts for when shoutouts are deserved. But even if I didn't have that, I still would shout him out. He just has a lot of good energy, and I really dig that. But, anyway, here's King Dice. Mr. King Dice! Yeah, that kind of guy. But you have to defeat all of the bosses before you can move on to the next island. Unfortunately, boo-hoo! I get to have more fun in Cuphead before I have to make progress. Oh no! And yeah, I do find this fun. I know some people probably don't find it fun to have to keep dying a bunch of times, but it's called learn the patterns and get good. But anyways, with the 7 coins you have at this point, I recommend buying the Chaser and the Pari Sugar, right? Yes. The Pari Sugar makes it so that you'll automatically parry one pink object every time you're in the air. Kind of a weird stipulation, but it is what it is. For the final boss of this island, I recommend a setup of Spreader and Chaser, for numerous reasons. Pari Sugar honestly works just as good as Smoke Bomb for this fight, but there you go, there's a little scorecard to show you just how much I've been destroying this so far. There's this guy over here that looks like a coin. I can't remember why I talked to him. I guess I just talked because I show off the dialogue. I don't think he had... Well, this is the guy that's probably responsible for hiding all the gold coins on the world maps and everything. Anyways, Ribby and Croaks in Clip Joint Calamity. The music track for this is a real banger. It's also kind of an earworm. Anyways, this is kind of a 2-in-1 boss. I know the root pack was kind of a 3-in-1, but they fought you one at a time. This time, you're fighting 2 dudes at the same time. Anyways, the tall guy, I don't know which is which, so I'm going to say the tall frog shoots flaming fireflies. I recommend killing those with the Spreader. Chaser works too, but the Spreader I find is a little bit quicker. And use the Chaser when the short guy, the short frog, is throwing Hadokins at you. These guys are based on Street Fighters, so you know. Parrying 3 of those pink projectiles can be kind of difficult though, because some of them come at you pretty quick. So that's why I recommend the Pari Sugar if you're trying to go for a perfect score on this. Using the Spreader up close is very good damage output because these guys don't really move from their positions. Even in this second phase, they change positions, but they don't move. So yeah, Spreader is very good damage output for this as a result. You could use the Chaser as well if you want a more consistent damage output, but it may not be faster. And this is one boss where you might actually be hard-pressed to do this in under 2 minutes. So, yeah. And the final phase, which is definitely the weirdest, the tall frog swallows the small frog, and they fuse into a frog-like slot machine. Okay. 3 different types of results every time you activate the quote-unquote slot machine. If it's green, you're going to get green platforms, which are definitely the easiest to deal with, even though when they get faster and faster and faster, they get harder to deal with. That's definitely the easiest to deal with, and I'm glad I got 2 of those in a row. The red one shoots fire from the platforms, so that's a little bit worse. And the third one is orange, bouncing balls from everyone. Do I need to say much more than that? I bet you that just from hearing my explanation, that sounds bad. Anyways, a regular A rank on that, I'll take it. We complete the first island, and that was a fun time. See you all next time when we go to the second island of Cuphead. It's gonna be a fun time. I'm really enjoying doing commentary for this game. Oh yeah, this gold coin. Like I said, you can't get it until you beat all the bosses, which I think is a fair compromise. So, yeah, TTYL.
I'm Mr. King Dice. I'm the gamest in the land. I never play nice. I'm the devil's right-hand man.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Cuphead commentary / Let's Play. Oh god, did I actually say that out loud? Anyways, last time we got introduced to the game and we took care of the entirety of the first island. And now we're moving on to Island 2 or Isle 2. I don't know, Island 2 sounds better because you say Isle 2, it sounds like you're talking about a grocery store or something. And yeah, I've only perished 9 times. So you come to this little puddle right here, and if you talk to it, some weird spirit or something will come up and tell you how many times you've died in this very difficult game. And yeah, if you've only died 9 times up to this point, that's actually really good. Honestly, if it's less than 20, I would still say that that's pretty solid. If this is your first or second time playing the game. This run right here that I did was my second time going through the game, so yeah. Anyways, boss numero uno. Pretty sure you have a choice here, actually. I think you don't have to fight Baroness von Sweet, or whatever the hell her name was, as the first boss. You can actually fight 2 other bosses instead. But I'm choosing to do her right now because she's probably the lesser of 3 evils. I don't know, the other 2 guys you can fight right now, they're not exactly walks in the park. Not even by Cuphead standards, and when I say walk in the park, I just mean slightly less hard than the other bosses. That would be one way to put it. So, I'm sure I've gone over all of this in the previous part, but in order to get the best possible ranks on these boss fights, you need to use 6 of those little cards on the lower left. That's your super meter, essentially. I think I'm saving it up, though, because the thing about the Baroness right here is that in order to fight her personally, you need to defeat her minions first. At least 3 minions. Although there's a lot more than 3 that can potentially show up here. That's the interesting thing. But you kill 3 of the minions and then, oh, here we go. Yeah, we're already in the phase. This is what you want to save your supers for. So I used the 5 tier super, the laser beam. And you're going to want to use at least 1 more lower level super if you want to get the best possible rank there. I already got hit 1 time. So I'm not going to get an A+. But it's okay. As long as you get an A on every boss fight in the regular mode run, you'll still be in good shape. You'll see what I mean later on. I recall this taking me a lot of tries. Big surprise, I know. That should probably go without saying for most of these Cuphead bosses, especially now that we're on the second island, 9. And I forgot to use a super meter. So I got an A- instead of just a regular A. Everything else was good though. But generally you want to fight these bosses and defeat them in under 2 minutes. Baroness von Bonbon, okay. Baroness von Sweet, Baroness von Bonbon. Where did I hear the Von Sweet from? Am I thinking of Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph, maybe? Yeah, that could be it. Anyway, head behind the circus tent here and talk to this guy. Right, this is the other member of the quartet from earlier that I talked to and didn't really give much attention to. The little birdhouse right there has another boss, Wally Warbles. Some people say it's the hardest boss in Island 2. In my opinion, it's probably only the 2nd hardest, because there's another boss that's also pretty tough. Definitely the toughest of the run and gun bosses up to this point, though. And this tower with the dragon-looking tail going around it, that's Grim Matchstick. That's another boss. I say like, oh, this is another boss. We're gonna be doing all of Island 2 in this part, so you know, I'm only delaying the inevitable when it comes to that sort of thing. Run and gun stage here. Am I going to do it right away? Yes, I am. Funhouse Frazzled. This is the one where you have to hit the little pink cards in the middle in order to switch gravity. Now, I'm not going for the S ranks on this. I'm actually going for the P ranks, which is short for Pacifist. You have to go through the entire stages without getting hit. Sorry, whoa. I mean, without hitting the enemies. Whoa, slow down there. If you had to go through the entire stage without getting hit yourself and not killing any enemies, oh boy, that would be quite the challenge right there. But no, you can get hit all you want if you're going for the pacifist rank. You can get hit all you want, but you cannot kill any enemies along the way. And if there's any other exceptions or loopholes, I can't remember off the top of my head, because as far as I know, there aren't that many exceptions to this rule at all. Like, I can't defeat that wall. I have to literally smoke bomb through its mouth when it opens up at the right time. But as you can see, as long as you don't kill any enemies, you'll get the pacifist rank just for making it to the end. But hey, you may as well speedrun it while you're at it. Am I right, or am I right? Anyways, you're probably wondering why I'm not doing that many bosses right now. I'm kind of just doing all this on the way. Also, hidden gold coin there. You might want to grab that because the pig guys, Porcrine's Emporium is around here somewhere. Matter of fact, it's right there. I'm gonna pass it up for the time being, though. Apparently, the spirit of the puddle is called Quadratus, or something like that, according to that light bulb guy. Wanted to come to this mausoleum ASAP, because this is how you get more super arts. The laser beam, in my opinion, is probably the best one, but there are two other ones that also have some potential uses, don't you know? So, yeah, I try to go for all the mausoleums ASAP whenever it's applicable, mind you. And obviously, each mausoleum is going to be just a little bit harder than the previous. This one introduces... I think this one introduces the tiny old men pink ghost. Also the ones that fly around in a circle. Oh wow, I got 2 in 1 shot there. There's also another challenge you need to be trying to do for an NPC on Island 2. And I think the only way to trigger it is if you talk to the NPC before you do this. Maybe not, but play it safe. But after you talk to the NPC, the challenge is you got to do 5 parries in a row without landing. And I find that the mausoleum stages are one of the easier stages to do this at, as far as trying to do the challenge and everything. But it's still kind of an annoying challenge, TBH. But anyway, the second magical super art. What is this one? I'm trying to remember. I know there's one where you summon like a ghost of yourself, but I think that's the one you get in the 3rd island. And obviously the one from the 1st island is the laser beam. And you're probably wondering why I'm not cutting out going to Porcrine's Emporium every time. I want people watching to know what items I've purchased, even though by the end of the playthrough I purchase everything, because this is a 100% run, technically speaking. I mean, I don't do the S ranks, but that's technically post-game. You can actually get a lot of the 100% rewards by just getting A's on all of the bosses. So I managed to get 5 parries in a row, and this juggling clown will give you a gold coin for that. Is it worth it? Maybe, maybe not, but it's the only way to get that gold coin, and you need every single gold coin to get every single weapon and special ability in the game, so yeah, why not just go ahead and do it? And this little NPC here will give you a gold coin by showing where the shortcut is, which I already did, so you get another gold coin there. Island 2 seems to have the most hidden gold coins. And while we're here, we'll go ahead and take care of the second and last run and gun stage for Island 2. I want to say this one is definitely the harder one, but I had a lot of trouble with the other one too. Funhouse Frazzle, I believe the other one was. Yeah, I remember having a lot of trouble with that one. I had trouble with this one too, particularly in the last section, because it seems like trying to smoke bomb through the enemies can be kind of a crapshoot sometimes, but at the same time, no, it's really weird. Also, I can't not hear the music for this level and not think of Super Mario World's music. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way, but yeah, that enemy right there is so huge that it seems like you can't really go through it without getting hit, even with the smoke bomb. It's gonna be the same situation for the last enemy as well, coming up, which is a giant. It's a giant hot dog in a bun. I'm not really sure. It's kind of dancing, I guess. It's just kind of moving in place. If that's what justifies dancing these days, I don't know. But yeah, you need to kind of not get hit and save your 2 hits for those 2 enemies, I find. I mean, maybe you could get lucky with some very last minute timing or something, but I have not been able to get that kind of thing to work. So if I had done that run and gun level there the first time instead of passing it up, I could have gone the pork grinds and gotten the mausoleum a bit sooner, but well, it is what it is. Anyways, I think that's all of the gold coins for Island 2. All of the hidden ones and all of the ones in the run and guns. So now, we're going to do the other 4 bosses. Also, we're going to talk to these guys because, well, they don't give you anything, but they do have a song. And we're going to listen to that.
It's nice to rest your eyes and maybe go outside. Grab a book and get some air. So what are you waiting for? Why not take a quick break? Tune the radio. There's chores to do, there's leaves to rake. Strum the old banjo. You can practice your Lindy Hop. And maybe later sing with your barber shop. Why not take a little quick break and come back for more? Then come back for more. Or please come back for more.
So yeah, I don't know why that's in there. You don't get any rewards for it other than just being able to listen to the song. Gave me a good little break there for commentary, I guess. So for those of us that do this sort of thing, I guess it's good for that. If we remember to go out of our way to get it, which I did because 100% run, and I honestly didn't think I was going to do a commentary for this right away, but it all worked out in the end. Anyway, Beppy the Clown. Oh boy, this guy. This guy is definitely harder than Baroness Von Bonbon. This took a lot of tries, but I recommend using the spreader for this. The spreader really does kind of make mincemeat out of him, especially because for 2 of his 4 phases, that's a lot of phases, I know. But for 2 of his 4 phases, he's basically standing in one spot, so the spreader is going to give you a really good damage output for this sort of thing. Also, you may want to... I think I'm saving up for a laser beam, I'm not sure, but this is one boss fight where if you want to just spam your 1-card super arts a good bit, you could probably get a good bit of damage, especially with the spreader's equivalent. Oh, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get iframes to avoid the donkey, or the horse. I mean, it's spitting out horseshoes. You don't put horseshoes on a donkey, right? Then it would be called donkey shoes. And it probably wouldn't be lucky. I don't know. I've never hated donkeys. I've always kind of liked them. I don't know, they seem okay to me. But anyways, I'm making this guy look easy, but he's not easy, trust me. Well, I mean, to get the S rank, it's probably a lot harder, but I guess if you're just trying to defeat him for the sake of defeating him, he becomes a lot more tolerable, I guess? I don't know. But, yeah, Beppy the Clown, this guy can be kind of a jerk. But, just be careful, keep spamming the spreader. Spreader works really good here. And that's Beppy the Clown. And I only got hit 1 time, but did I get, like... I think I did get good on every other stat, let's see. Under 2 minutes... 2 HP, 3 parry, 6 super. Yeah, pretty much the best I can do, other than not getting hit. And that would have been an S rank if I remember to do it on Expert. Oh, yeah. Don't know where that came from. Oh, also, I know I'm like 14 minutes late to mention this, but I decided to switch from Cuphead to Bugman for Isle 2. Just to give this character a bit more spotlight. When we go to Island 3, as well as the stuff that's after Island 3, basically the finale, quote-unquote, I'll be switching between the two characters a bit. But I figured giving Island 1 to Cuphead and Island 2 to Mugman was a pretty good, evenly distributed spotlight. I personally like Mugman's design a little bit more than Cuphead's, so Mugman would be the character I prefer to play as, but I mean, gameplay-wise, they are identical. They don't have any unique super arts or unique special abilities. They probably could have done that, but maybe they just figured it'd be pointless because you can switch between the two characters. And when you play two-player co-op, one player is going to be Cuphead and the other is going to be Mugman, so... You know, I feel like they probably could have done like one or two exclusive things, but at the same time, they probably just felt like it'd be more convenient to not do that. Which is understandable as well. Anyway, Djimmi the Great. This guy, I've seen a lot of people complain about him. I can see why this guy is annoying, but me personally, I think he's a little bit overhyped. He's not as hard as the other two bosses we have yet to do. We actually saw them earlier, Wally Warbles and Grim Matchstick. I'm of the opinion that those two are the hardest fights in Island 2. Whether you're going for the S rank or not, but then again, I haven't really delved into expert mode much, other than watching videos, so my opinion on that may change, but as far as doing the regular mode is concerned, I feel like Wally Warbles and Grim Matchstick are both quite a bit harder than this guy. Also, I'm not sure if his hands actually hurt you or not. I know they did there, but I don't know, I find sometimes I go close to his hands and I don't get hit. Also, watch out for the little beam he shoots out from his forehead. That's another projectile that can really get you when you least expect it. Thankfully, when you're just going for the A ranks, you can get hit one or two times. You can not do a super meter. You could probably not do a pari either, but, you know, I would say, you know, anything more than -2 in general, it probably will kill your A rank run. I'm just gonna say, it probably would kill your run, and you probably should restart otherwise. So, oh, I guess I do Grim Matchstick. I guess the only reason I do Grim Matchstick before Wally Warbles is because he's in the way first. I mean, he was in the way before, but you know. So, whether you think Grim Matchstick is harder or Wally Warbles is harder, probably depends on whether you prefer the normal style of gameplay or the run and gun, or not the run gun, but the plane setup. For me personally, I don't really mind the plane setup too much, so I would consider Grim Matchstick to be the more difficult of the two, but both are still the most difficult fights in Island 2, to be sure. Now, I'm using a weapon called the Lobber. This weapon does a little bit more damage than the average pea shooter. And just for Grim Matchstick at least, since he seems to always be either to the side of you or to the side and to the bottom of you, and you're always jumping on clouds with the risk of a bottomless pit hanging under you at practically the entire given time, it just seems to me like the Lobber is the best weapon to use for this boss fight. Other good ones to use would be the Roundabout, I think it's called, the one where you shoot it and it goes behind you. That one probably works pretty good as well, but I would say the Lobber has a better damage output. You'll have to experiment a bit to see which one works best for you. The Chaser also works decently, obviously. It's just that the Chaser is a bit weak on the damage, so you may want to use caution there. Also, I got hit a second time at the very last minute towards the end there, so that's great. But thankfully I managed to get perfect scores in the other categories, so I just barely eked out with an A-. But that's a really jerk move, Grim Matchstick. Real jerk move there. But yeah, we're almost done with Island 2. We're just gonna go on to Wally Warbles and we'll take care of that. I will say, based on what I've seen, the expert version of Wally Warbles is definitely quite a bit harder than this one, because of a few small differences that I'm not really going to mention just for the sake of it, because I'm not doing the expert mode runs in this commentary. I'm just going to do the regular ones. But anyways, plane level. So, you know, you fight a bird in a birdhouse. When he shoots the egg projectile, it'll split into 3 smaller eggshells that will kind of go back towards where Wally is. But if you stay to the upper left, or the lower left, I should say, you will dodge the eggs because the projectiles won't split upward or downward. Only, yeah, that way, basically. And when you've angered him enough, he will start spamming feathers, and I'm sure a lot of people have trouble avoiding this and dodging it. But if you stay in one spot and just, move slightly up or down depending on the trajectory of the feathers incoming, it's not as bad as it could be. It's the kind of attack that looks worse than it actually is. This phase is definitely a pain, though. I want to say this is his son or whatever, but basically he'll be floating around at a relatively brisk pace, and he will have 5 spiky eggs floating around him that go in and out, in and out. And yeah, it can be kind of hard to dodge them. It can be kind of hard to... I'm surprised I haven't got hit yet. I should... Yeah, I get hit there. Okay. I was about to say, I definitely remember getting hit at least once by this phase in the successful... the successful recording of this boss. Oh god. Anyway, the final phase... This is probably the easiest phase. It's also the shortest one, but this one can still catch you off guard if you're not careful. You definitely want to switch to your bombs, which kind of work the same as the lobber, actually, because they kind of go downwards, and the target is downwards in this case. So yeah, you definitely switch to your bombs here for sure. You could probably do some damage with the regular Gatling gun, but I personally wouldn't. So anyway, that pretty much takes care of Island 2, everybody. And, yeah. So this is going to end the commentary portion of this part. I'm going to leave the rest of this for your personal enjoyment without commentary. But, thank you very much for watching. Next time, like I said, it's not going to be all of Island 3 next part, I don't think. I think it's just going to be the majority of it, because Island 3 is actually a little bit bigger. Has a few more bosses. So splitting that one up seems like the best thing to do. So next time, we will be doing a majority of Island 3. Enjoy King Dice over here. Enjoy the cutscene. All of you take care. I really would like to see you all come back for the 3rd and then the 4th part after that, which makes it just a finale. Hope you enjoyed this. This is Lazuli, signing out.